Project Blue Book, the secret continuation at Area 51, prologue. The illusion of closure. In 1969, the U.S. Air Force officially declared an end to Project Blue Book. The mission: investigate unidentified flying objects, determine if they posed a threat, and if so, respond. The conclusion: nothing to worry about. A simple, tidy closure. Or was it? For years, believers, whistleblowers, and insiders have whispered a darker truth that Blue Book never truly ended. That it was quietly relocated, renamed, and resurrected under the thick veil of military secrecy inside one of the most classified military installations in the world, Area 51. Welcome to the hidden chapters of Project Blue Book. Not a relic of the Cold War, but a living operation. A black program that continues to catalog sightings, analyze extraterrestrial tech, and silence those who know too much. This is a story of disinformation, deep state strategy, and the war for truth. This is not science fiction. This is the conspiracy hiding in plain sight. The public saw scientists, clipboards, radar, but hidden beneath that was something else. A separate stream of uncategorized sightings coded Blue Book Omega reports that never made it to public files. What happened to those? Today, their trail leads not to dusty archives in Ohio, but to the Nevada desert, where nothing is what it seemed. Project Blue Book didn't end. It evolved. It went underground. And the gateway to that underground? Area 51. Over the next hours, you will see declassified documents, whistleblower testimony, leaked footage, and connections that lead to a single conclusion. The real Project Blue Book never closed, and it has grown darker than ever imagined. Official closure or covert transformation. December 1969, the United States Air Force publicly announced the termination of Project Blue Book. The reason? Lack of evidence that UFOs posed any national security threat. But was this really the end? Behind classified doors, away from congressional oversight, there were whispers of an internal transfer. Project Blue Book, some insiders claim, did not end. It simply changed names, gained clearance levels beyond top secret, and was moved to one of the most secure military facilities in the world, Area 51. In 1970, budget reallocations under the Department of Defense included an untraceable $22 million marked only as aerospace threat analysis. Former employees at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base were mysteriously reassigned. Many disappeared into what insiders refer to as Black Compartment X. Aye. According to a declassified CIA memo from 1975, heavily redacted, an unnamed air intelligence initiative concerning advanced aerial phenomena was referenced its new code name, Project Blue Beam Phase 2. Could it be that Project Blue Book was never truly dismantled but rather resurrected under deeper secrecy? Whistleblowers and vanished scientists. After 1969, a quiet but troubling pattern began to emerge, a wave of disappearances among scientists and intelligence officers formerly associated with Project Blue Book. Officially, their careers had concluded or they had retired. But multiple family members and colleagues reported strange final messages, rapid relocations, and in some cases, complete erasure of their identities. Dr. Gerald T. Fisher, astrophysicist and atmospheric optics expert, vanished in 1972 after telling a colleague he had been called to a permanent program in Nevada. His name never appeared again in any scientific publications, and his social security number became inactive by 1974. Leet Call, Andrew Voss, former Blue Book data analyst, disappeared en route to a classified conference in White Sands. His wife, Susan Voss, later stated under oath to an investigative journalist, Andrew said he had seen things that kept him awake at night. He got a call from Washington and was told to report to a place with no name. That was the last time I saw him. Tom, in 1987, a secret audio tape surfaced allegedly leaked from a Senate subcommittee closed hearing where an unnamed defense contractor testified. The Blue Book program continued under a different structure. Many of the personnel were taken to a subterranean facility in Groom Lake, Nevada Area 51. Their research was no longer about public investigation. It was direct interaction. Kid, this aligns with the increasing rumors of a hidden division known as S4 within Area 51, allegedly focused on reverse engineering unidentified craft and biological entities. If Project Blue Book morphed into a hybrid of aerospace, psyops, and biological inquiry, then those scientists didn't vanish. They were absorbed into the shadow. Area 51, the Black Laboratory of Disclosure. Area 51, officially denied by the U.S. government until 2013, is perhaps the most secretive and symbolically charged location on Earth. But what most people don't know is that its original mission was not just aircraft development. In the early 1970s, shortly after the closure of Project Blue Book, black budget allocations began to rise sharply. Investigative journalist Timothy Good documented at least $2.3 billion in undeclared aerospace expenditures tied to unknown defense projects. A declassified Department of Defense financial log from 1973 listed Research Base 621L as a recipient of $134 million. Former defense contractor Emery Ross revealed in a 1,994 interview, 621. L was the internal designation for the underground complex at Groom Lake. Everyone outside knew it as Area 51. But insiders, especially after 1969, called it the Vault of Continuation. I'm saying, there, according to multiple whistleblowers, advanced propulsion systems were being tested not from Earth-based models, but derived from retrieved craft stored during Project Blue Book investigations. A 1,976 intelligence memorandum obtained via FOIA lawsuit described non-terrestrial materials under examination in Groom Lake testing sectors. The memo made direct reference to Blue Book assets being reclassified and reassigned. In parallel, the MJ-12 papers, leaked in the 1980s, suggested that after Blue Book's public shutdown, its core operations merged into an internal compartment called Sigma 7, housed beneath Sector 4 of Area 51. If true, this reveals a blueprint of deceit. Publicly end a program, secretly move its content to a deeper black level facility, and erase all traceable connections. The hidden technologies. What was found? What was replicated? Throughout the 1950s and 60s, Project Blue Book officially labeled most UFO sightings as misidentifications. But buried within its classified annexes were incident reports of material retrievals craft fragments, metallic alloys, and devices of unknown origin. Case file number 032-64 from a 1,964 incident in Dulce, New Mexico mentions an object of non-standard aerospace geometry recovered intact. An Air Force internal memo labeled it as VT Alpha, non-terrestrial configuration, no propulsion signature, non-binary data port. When Blue Book was publicly shut down in 1969, these materials, along with their accompanying files, did not vanish. According to whistleblowers, they were transferred to Research Compartment S4 at Area 51 under what is now referred to as Black Vault Science Division. One former radar technician, Victor B., testified in 1999 under voice distortion during a European documentary. They weren't just storing wreckage. They were testing it measuring energy distortions, trying to reproduce certain frequencies. There were engineers from Lockheed and EG and G inside S4. Some of them said the craft responded to brainwaves. A 1,983 CIA briefing leak mentions EM gravity field fluctuation prototypes being developed using samples from Blue Book Archive Case Delta 19. Allegedly, this research directly influenced stealth technology and quantum radar systems. What if technologies recovered under Blue Book weren't just mysteries to be explained, but templates to be replicated? And what if they succeeded? Pescological operations and the cover-up protocol. If Project Blue Book truly continued in secret at Area 51, the question arises, why haven't the public media, or global scientific community confirmed it? The answer may lie in the most effective weapon never fired: psychological operations, PSYOPs. In 1972, an internal document from the Air Force's Office of Special Investigations, AFOSI, classified at the time as Ultra Red, outlined Operation Mirage, a multi-agency directive to discredit civilian UFO witnesses through media manipulation, promote ridicule of UFO reports in pop culture, plant fabricated UFO cases with absurd elements, e.g. space pancakes, humanoids in tutus, to saturate public discourse with nonsense. Former NSA analyst Richard Keller revealed in a 2001 interview, the easiest way to bury the truth isn't to hide it, it's to drown it in noise. They didn't stop the sightings, they amplified the fiction around them. An FOIA declassified memo from 1975 even instructed local law enforcement near test sites to stage arrests of alien hoaxers as part of public deterrent strategies. Meanwhile, journalists who probed too deeply, like Paul Benowitz and Gary Webb, faced surveillance, intimidation, and in some cases, tragic mental collapse. Television specials and comic books of the late 70s were funded in part by intelligence-connected contractors feeding an absurd narrative about flying saucers filled with space clowns to ensure legitimate whistleblower accounts were dismissed. What if the world never stopped hearing about UFOs because the government never wanted it to stop? But they controlled the narrative until the absurd drowned out the real. Testimonies from the shadows. Witnesses who risked everything. Beneath the fog of disinformation and ridicule, a handful of voices refused to remain silent. They were janitors, radar technicians, airmen, and subcontractors, the overlooked gears in a hidden machine. And some of them spoke out, despite enormous personal risk. Thomas T.J. Aldridge, a maintenance supervisor at Groom Lake in the 1980s, described an underground research wing dedicated to biological interface testing with recovered flight components. In a private taped interview, Aldridge stated, "We weren't cleaning up aircraft, we were scrubbing labs where they were growing something, not from here. And one day, they brought in these documents, Blue Book, Operational Continuation." I never forgot those words. Little Commander Carla Reyes, former US Navy pilot, detailed a training flight near Papoose Lake in 1991 where she intercepted what she believed to be a responsive aerial vehicle with no heat signature. She was later told it was a cloaking test from Lockheed, but years later, she discovered flight telemetry inconsistencies. The object she chased had acceleration beyond known physics. She was quietly discharged in 1993. Dr. Edward Clammer, biophysicist, gave a signed affidavit before his death in 2007 claiming, "I worked on cellular analysis of organic residue extracted from alloy seams. The project was an extension of the original Blue Book under a DoD black cell group. We call it Project Shepherd. These are not alien fanatics. They are trained professionals, sworn under clearance, who witnessed operations that echoed Project Blue Book's goals, but in total secrecy. What unites them is not their background, but their trauma, and their refusal to let the truth die in silence. Project Blue Book Phase 3, Goals Beyond Earth." By the late 1990s, multiple intelligence leaks suggested that the modern continuation of Project Blue Book had entered a third phase, unofficially named by insiders as Phase 3, the cognitive transition. This new direction had little to do with identifying UFO sightings. Instead, it involved neural interface testing, contact preparation simulations, and predictive cognitive programming advanced mix of neuroscience and extraterrestrial signal analysis. In 2004, a leaked DARPA internal presentation titled Reactive Human-Machine Integration for Nonlinear Threats directly referenced Blue Book 3 as a data source for non-human communication modeling. Former Air Force linguist Dr. Elaine Rowan, in a 2012 whistleblower video, claimed the transmissions they were studying weren't from here. They were decoded using symbol matrices that weren't part of any Earth language. Our job was to translate emotional meaning, not syntax. They called it Project EchoMine. Phase 3, according to declassified fragments, involves 3 goals. 1. Decoding interspecies communication through energy frequency mapping, ARM. Establishing neural alignment protocols to prepare selected subjects for potential contact. 3. Global perceptual conditioning to slowly alter public reaction to disclosure events. A 2016 internal Air Force study explored the use of dream-based cognitive seeding to test human receptivity to non-terrestrial presence. Project Blue Book may have begun as documentation, but its evolution suggests something far more ambitious. To prepare the human mind for what is coming before we can even understand it. Conclusion: the silence between the stars. For decades, Project Blue Book was portrayed as a finished Chaptera relic of Cold War paranoia and government curiosity. But behind that official narrative, an unsettling pattern emerges. The deeper we look, the more the trail continues. From vanished scientists and reclassified files to strange aircraft glimpsed in the Nevada sky and psyops embedded in Saturday morning cartoons, the signs are there for those willing to connect them. If the project's true objective was ever about explaining UFOs, that goal has long since shifted. What now remains is something more covert, more psychological, and more existential. What if the real Project Blue Book is no longer about what's flying above us, but what's already inside us? What if it's not just a search for aliens, but a long, slow initiation preparing humanity for a reality that will challenge everything we believe? In 2019, a former contractor released the following words online before vanishing from all digital records. Disclosure isn't coming. It already came. You just didn't recognize it because it didn't look like a spaceship. It looked like a whisper, a thought, a dream not your own. Maybe that's why the stars are silent, because what's out there doesn't need to speak in words. It's already speaking through